Hey everyone, it's Kyle with Coding on Chain. And in this stream, Roberto and I start demonstrating JSON linked data using IPFS and Cardano metadata. This was really cool to start seeing how it all comes together, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you like this type of content, leave us a comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe. If you're an ADA holder, please check out our pools, Lift and Peace. Anyway, let's jump in. All right, we're live. All right, so I just went ahead and started a blank, I just have a folder now, which is called IPFS. And you know what I realized as I was creating this is I don't actually have IPFS on this machine. I have it on a different machine that I was using. So that might actually be for uh, the best, right? So let's see. Let me bring this over here. That's Oh, I could do that, but maybe it's beneficial to talk about how to like get this up and running first. I mean, it's really simple, at least for Windows. It was kind of just uh, run this and run that, and you're done. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we're just gonna do the regular desktop then, because I did the command line when I did it. Yeah. Oh no, no. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was just the dashboard that I had. Oh, 1 second. I just realized your audio. Wait, can you talk? Oh, your audio is not coming through. 1 second. 1 second. That's all right. Hopefully, I don't destroy this. Uh, can you talk?
Hello, hello.
Okay, there we go. Here, if you don't mind, just so I can get the levels going, just say something.
Hello, that's
All right, he might be a little low.
enough.
That's good enough. There we go. Cool.
I
All
guess.
right, we didn't get very far. Luckily, I noticed that. Um, let's see. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we could just go the standard desktop route just to get it up and running. I mean, wait, it presents like an API that we can interact with because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it should. In the end, it's just like I don't know if they use Electron or something like that to make
Yeah,
the bundle, but
they do. It says right here, IPFS desktop is built using the Electron framework.
oh,
Nailed it.
yeah.
All right, yeah,
And
this is
yeah,
awesome.
basically it listens on port 5001, so you could use that API to interact with from Orbit.
Let's do that.
Uh,
I like it. I mean, ultimately, I did this. Weird. It wants to install my app directory. Whatever. I'll fix that another day. All right. There we go. Oh, you can't. All right. So, oh, there we go. Look at that. I've got 14 peers already. That's what's up. Look at that. All right, done. That was a great stream. No, I'm just kidding.
Um, I'm gonna upload something and see if it propagates from my network, because one of the tricky things that I wanted to try. Oh, wait.
Keep going. What's up?
Oh, yeah. So there it is. Yeah, I was saying that one of the tricky things, if we are planning to run OrbitDB to store our event ticketing system stuff like events, I don't know, maybe announcements, everything, basically everything, maybe host some chat application for the event, why not? Um, One of the
Yeah.
things that we need to deal with is probably some of these mobile applications or wherever we run NordBTB will be behind limited network connections. Um, and
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to spin up this Kubernetes cluster in the cloud to um, use it as relay to make circuit on IPFS. We won't go too deep into that, but that's how you, yeah, basically jump off your uh, capped network to the rest of the IPFS swarm.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think even right now, if we just kind of not necessarily ignore the event ticketing, so just to, yeah, we definitely can use some of those concepts, but like, even if we were just to kind of, tinker with the concept of, okay, hey, we have an orbit DB, and there's, I mean, even just like IPFS, right? Just throw some JSON up in IPFS. Like, to me, like, Orbit DB, yeah, that's great. But like, if I can just do a simple like, hey, give me my files that are like, my files that I've added, um, that alone is pretty powerful. Because then it's like, basically like an event organizer can publish out events, right? And say like, here's the details of an event, and we just propagate like, oh, hey, you just need to know this hash. Like this hash equals this event from this event organizer, and then you can get like pricing information and whatnot, and we can make a transaction based off that JSON, and ultimately we can link, our receipt, right, metadata transaction to that event, right? And then maybe we have our public key, PGP, or elliptic curve, private key pair set. I mean, all these things, right? Like even that alone, I bet you using IPFS link data style with metadata. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's pretty powerful in itself. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, we will be using playing IPFS, for example, for the images of the event. Some other plain stuff. RBTB is just good because it provides some abstraction layer on top of this decentralized storage system. Like it use WebSockets for refreshing. I mean, you connect to an IPFS object and it listens for changes. So you can have, for example, the PubSub app, and it performs some operations on top of IPFS. But yeah, we will be good using plain IPFS.
I mean, I think if we can, like, at least for like this, this session right here, kind of keeping it simple and more or less just proving concepts, right? Like just little tiny POCs. How can we prove that concept? Prove this concept. Um, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
What do you think? I mean,
I think we should start by sharing a file.
okay, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in. You know what? I'll create a folder. I'm just gonna call it miscellaneous for now. What I might do, I'm gonna make it a JSON file. Just because I feel like we're gonna use a lot of JSON, right? So,
So for example, I just uploaded a README file to IPFS, to my local IPFS daemon. There are some peers that will probably pick it up, make it available through the official IPFS gateway, ipfs.io. But for example, it's not ready yet.
yeah. Here,
And
1 second. I don't know why it picked like my app data to do all that stuff. Let me navigate real quickly. Because basically, like once our files are up, we can actually import our like each other's file into our desktop here. It's not
you
even.
could
What is that? What is that? Sorry, give me 1 second. All right, so here's my test file imported. So, yep, basically I just have a little message that says, it's a JSON message. Coding on chain was here. Just a little tag, right? Now, what we want to do. How do I go back? Why is there not a back button? Give me.
right
I need the
click,
hash. Yeah.
right
Give me
click and
perfect.
share link.
Yes. Okay, let's copy this. So what we should do now is see if it's propagated, which there we go. Okay. So that means it's been propagated, which I mean I got
It did.
245 peers. So yeah, so
It
mine.
did for you. For example, it propagated really quick on your connection, probably because, and I'm guessing here, you have UPnP on your router, and it probably opened a port, published your IPFS endpoint, so the peers could connect back to you, retrieve the file, and make it available to the rest of the swarm. But for me, for example, it's been like a couple of minutes and it's still not available. And that's
Oh, really?
because, yeah, I can share you.
And you did the same exact thing I did, like add a file, and just that
Yeah,
was it. Okay. Okay.
I downloaded IPFS desktop for macOS, installed it, added the file, shared the link, and it's not reachable. It gets spinning in the browser. Um, that's why having an intermediate server that pings the content for you, like Piñata Cloud Service,
Mm-hmm.
which is a commercial project, can help you to make this instantly available. So that was what I really wanted to test here. Like, okay, let's spin up an
Oh.
IPFS node and relay my data to this server and make it available instantly. But no, it wasn't possible. So cool. It's cool that your connection is available at
Yeah, we can
least,
play
so
with
we
this a
can
bit.
go
Yeah.
forward.
There you go. Okay, so
You could do a cool test. That is, you can close your IPFS desktop now and check that you still can access the file from the browser.
yep, I put the link in the chat for Twitch. So anybody that's here, click on that. You should see this JSON message coding on chain was here. And
But is your node running?
no, I closed the desktop app. It's gone.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
So
So if
people
I
will
open that back
will
up,
wonder.
or maybe it
Uh,
wasn't. Hold on 1 second. I wonder if I can just turn it off. Can you just turn off the no thanks. Settings. Do.
it works for me. But for example, A says that it keeps loading for him, and that's probably because he is not reaching peers that embrace with the companion installed. Could you check
Gotcha.
on?
This is Brave, and I don't have Companion installed.
Me neither. And you could even use curl from the command line to work because it's independent. It doesn't matter if you are using Companion because IPFS.io is a plain HTTP request connection. So it's not using, well, unless the IPFS Companion is hijacking that connection, which I don't
wonder if it is.
think so. I mean, you're doing a plain request, not going through the companion to access that file.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't have the companion.
Yep. So probably when you connect to IPFS.io, the official gateway, you go to different routes and maybe it keeps loading depending. It shouldn't be like that, to be honest. It should just find up here that it's replicating the file. And yeah, people will think, will wonder, okay, so you uploaded a file, you closed your application, and then there is someone that is replicating it for free. Yes, because it's like in their cache, but it will disappear when these IPFS daemons perform their garbage collection. If they don't pin that object, it's gone. It's gonna be gone. Pinning means I want to keep that. I want to replicate that.
Yeah, is pinning locally though? From talking with OCG, I thought pinning was a local. I could totally be wrong. I didn't quite get it. All right, I'm closing. I want to close the desktop for a little bit and see if so just to make sure that I'm not.
It might take like days. Maybe some of the peers in the network has their garbage collection set some high threshold, like days. So it will probably work during our whole session.
All right, so let me just check real quick. Okay, cool. This is test net. I was just making sure I didn't have a mainnet installed. All right.
A is asking, is pinning basically a centralized CDN? Not centralized.
But local, right? It's like a local CD. I mean, if you want to.
Like, how to say it? You have a permanent way to address a file that will be hosted on as much as devices that decide to pin it. So imagine we have this database running on our mobile phone application. So we are basically running an IPFS node on each of these applications instances. They by default will ping that database. So you have the link, which is permanent.
It keeps it local.
Yeah, and you will have like thousands of nodes replicating the database for the application, basically for free. So it's like a decentralized CDN, not centralized. Because the idea of having this centralized server pinning the database is just for reliability. Imagine that we don't have thousands of users running the IPFS node on this application, and we just have 10. and if they have the application closed at the same time, we rely on peers in the network to have it on their volatile IPFS cache. So we want to make it resilient and reliable. For that, we need these pinning services.
Yeah.
Also
About to touch on that.
for making the objects to reach the swarm faster, but the pinning is like even more important.
Yeah. So on IPFS, it says pinning is the mechanism that allows you to tell IPFS to always keep a given object somewhere, default being your local node, but you can use a third-party remote pinning service to make it remote. So I think it's just a way to help you keep information accessible, right? So.
And it will become more and more unnecessary as long as the network of users of these objects increase, because the probability of having like 1,000 nodes down at the same time will be low.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, you will probably need some mechanism to make it available.
So, I mean, this sounds like kind of like so simple of an example that I want to do to a point where like I don't even know what's worth doing. But in my head, okay, I'm just gonna kind of do something. So it's like, let's say events, right? And new file. Let's say give me a festival or something, an event name. I don't know.
Red Hot Chili Peppers
There we go.
concert at
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Right. So, all right. And the way I
In
see this
fact,
going,
you can go to
yes,
schema.org/event with
yes.
capital
See, this
E,
is this is
and
why
that
you're around to keep enforcing the standards that we want to use. Okay, so let's see. Full list event music event, right?
let's do it.
All right. So I'm gonna come down here. Hopefully, there's an example, and there is. Lovely. Okay. I'm just gonna copy it, and we'll fill in what we can and do that stuff. Okay, context type, awesome. Location is a venue. Let's say, give me a
It
give me a good
finally
give me a good
it
location.
loaded a good location.
Name what? Okay, the name of the event. That's
Santiago,
such a.
Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid, Real Madrid Stadium.
Okay, so A said that the link finally loaded, so he's able to retrieve that now.
Yep.
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna. You know what? How about people in chat and Roberto just throw information in chat that you want me to put in here instead of telling me, because like I'm not going to spell it, and I feel like I'm gonna be real clunky just watching me like fail at getting. But I can fill in other stuff.
I mean,
Ooh,
that's
interesting. This is great. So like for instance, examples like a ticket URL, right? This can be another, this is that link data. This is where we start, because all you're doing is linking to something else, right? That is the concept here. Performer. Okay, so we know that the name is not the orchestra, but it's Red Hot. And I will grab, you know what? I'm gonna try to make this as legit as possible. Red. That's not even how you spell red hot. Red hot chili. Boom. Really? Okay, so they're really, it really is just a bunch of bees. All right, whatever, guys.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw honeycombs. And I was like, where am I at right now? Let's see. Same as. Interesting. Huh. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I was not expecting that.
Well,
No, I was thinking it was a website, but it's. I mean, yeah, it is. I can just do this, but I like this as well.
you know,
Just copy it.
we could leave all that maybe as it is, but we could do a cool
Well,
thing.
I'm gonna trim it down. I'm gonna trim it down. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
as as verbose as it is right now. Like per
there
I
are
see, not a
some
band. We're just gonna leave it like this. Fine. You know what?
there are
We're only gonna
some
fill in some.
images around there that would be cool to have on IPFS also.
Creative works. Work perform. All right, we're not gonna do this either. All right, so that's pretty. All right, so the what's the event name? I guess the event name could be. I don't know. Let's call it the Red Hot Chili Peppers 2021 tour. I don't know. Great, right? All right, so tickets URL. So to me, that's just another link data, right? So it's a description of the ticket. So it's kind of like saying we need to make the ticket first, which is kind of interesting, right? Because I don't know if we've ever thought about like what do you actually need to like create first? Because I figured that you would actually, I mean, because this is like you create the ticket, then you create the event.
Well, thinking on the implementation on top of Cardano, on some workflow we were working on, maybe it made sense like to mint tokens for specific seats just whenever they are bought. Like, okay, each seat on a theater, let's imagine this is gonna be in a theater instead of in an stadium. We have a number of seats. Why do we want to mint all those different tokens in advance? Maybe we don't even send them, so we will need to burn them. We we will need to do two things just if they are not sold. So it will be cool to have like an event coming to our organizer application that says, okay, there is someone that wants to buy this seat. Then we mint it, we send it to the address where the payment came from, something like that. So I would say offers object here could could be like a list of possible or available seats, but I wouldn't mint them
Yeah,
in advance.
yeah, I agree. It could just be the description of what could be bought. Now the thing here is offers. I feel like it needs to be generic, and I don't even know if it could be what you're saying because you can't change this, right? I mean, well, I guess you could change
Well,
the URL, right? I guess that's where the versioning comes in for IPFS, right?
yeah, that's a cool
Yeah,
thing. If we go the Cardano metadata route, it's immutable, but you can have mutable database on IPFS. So we could, for example, offer a list of seats, but whenever we get some more space in the venue, or we build some chairs, we could add them and offer them. Uh, yeah, that's pretty neat and pretty simple.
I wonder, could you do, like, could offers, I mean, is it as simple, like, for instance, let's say I wanted to make this an array. Like, can offers be an array? Like, could there be more? Because, like,
Uh,
ultimately, you might have different tickets, right?
yeah, and I'm wondering if we. Oh, I need to log into Twitch. Wait. I will send you another schema. I'm sending it to you through our call. Basically, schema.org/ticket.
Where'd you send that? Oh, right here. Bloop. Okay.
So I wonder if we should.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Sasha says offer is just overcomplicating.
Intent ticket offer. I think I'm on offer. No, I didn't click on offer. Yeah, so demand or offer. I mean, I'm surprised there's no ticket on here. I wonder if there's a different example.
Oh,
that's funny. Like even offer
is dying.
Uh-oh. Quick, plug it in.
So Sasha says offer is for later. Does not have to be in the event JSON. Offer is just over complicating things for now. Just post only the event info and organize it. And I agree. Whenever we, I mean, I would take this like an evolving thing because we can. It's easy. We don't need to deal with the original idea we had that we post an event on Cardano metadata, then if we want to update it, we will need to post another metadata object linking to the old one just for reference and add some more data or modify it. But with IPFS, we can just update the objects and add new links as we need.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just I guess at the moment I'm just trying to figure out where that link comes in. Like, so where do you see the link of an event and a ticket come into play? I guess maybe I missed that.
Say it again.
So for an event and a ticket, right? So let's say we post just this event. So we get rid of offer entirely. So then basically we have a location, we have a name, we have a performer. So name of the event. We have the location and we have performer and the start date. That's pretty good for an event actually, right? So where does the link come in where we say said ticket? Do we link it? I guess to me, I would link it from the ticket. Maybe I'm just thinking too much, but that could totally be the thing. But to me, it's like from the link schema, or sorry, from the ticket schema needs to link to the event, right? And I feel like I'm just missing it. Maybe there's an organization. Maybe that's it. But it could not fund me. I don't know.
Subject of creative work or event. A creative work or event about
there
this
you go.
thing.
You nailed it. Good job.
Inverse property about.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. I just, to me, it's one of those things, like if you can connect the dots, then it just kind of answers a lot of questions. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Then I guess I need to bring IPFS back up. So I close it just to kind of prove the point, right? Of that A could hit it.
We will have an attendee application that let's say our BTB database for new available tickets, because I feel it should be the event which offers the tickets somehow. not the other way, but
So here's our new. All right, so ooh, look at that. It's not propagating very quickly. Now let's give it. Come on, I got more peers this time. Hurry up. All right, let's give it some time. All right, when that loads, that's great. All right, let's go ahead and make the ticket. I mean, because ultimately we got time, right? It's got to propagate.
yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna copy this just to get it going, and then we'll dial it back. All right, create another folder. No, that's a file. All right, just to keep naming convention, I feel like I should have done a little better on this, but I think we can handle it. All right, reservation 4. That's an interesting one. So this is an event, so that's literally, I guess, what they deem the event to be. Oh, this is a reservation. Interesting. So you reserve a ticket? Is that what we're saying here? To me, that's like this is a receipt. Why do I find this to be more of a receipt? So to me, this is like what you would generate after you paid for it. I mean, maybe not. Like I get that you can call for a reservation, and it's not like you haven't paid for it necessarily. But
Yeah,
to me, I feel like there's a bunch of information I don't want to.
One of the things I've been thinking about what can we do different on these type of systems is, okay, we have cool treasury features that we could use, but we could also have an easy way to measure potential audience. I mean, you could launch an event and poll for reservations or for interest. So you have some metrics on how many people want to attend to the event, and then plan the event. Maybe you want to look for a different venue for the event because there is too many people interested in your local area. And given that it's easy and cheap to evolve all this, maybe we could implement something like that in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, sorry for all my random thoughts, but it's like,
don't
okay,
apologize.
if it's cheap and easy in terms of just update an IPFS object and it's there for everyone and replicated almost for free. What can we do differently?
Yeah. By the way, I noticed that this example was specifically a event registration, and our ticket schema is actually right here at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to keep that token. So let's give it. All right. We want a price currency, which we all know what that is.
ADA?
Of course, it's ADA. What? I'm not going to put it in.
I think that one was.
Are you telling me I got to use something else? I just has to be.
It's a ticker symbol. Format.
Yeah.
It's a ISO 4217 currency format. USD, BTC, ADA.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so we got that. Blah blah blah. Under name, the person of or organization that okay, so we're not gonna say this is. I mean, I guess you could just say like general public, right? Like you could kind of make it like a catch-all like group, because like for instance, I'm making a general admission ticket. Like I'm not giving it. Like I'm just thinking like you're in, right? Like just kind of start simple. Don't worry about seats or anything like that. Just like you're in the event. Done. Thank you. All right. So how many? Let's say I don't know. Let's say 108.
Then our Cardano tokens wouldn't be NFTs by themselves. Like
Yeah.
you will
So
mint 1 million of them. I mean 1,000 of this general admission ones. So they are not, they are fungible because uh, there exists some.
not necessarily, right? Real quick, not necessarily, because they could be serialized, right? Like you could be the first one to buy a ticket, right? So
Right.
you get #1 like for the serial, right? That automatically quote unquote makes it more valuable, right? Because it's numbers, it's serial number 1, right? Like I'm not saying, you know, 2 to 1,000 are, progressively less, valuable. I would, they all might be the same value, but number 1, right? Number 1 is, I don't know. It's all about, I don't know. I just think back to trading cards, right? Like you can have the same like special one, but if you have number 1, it's like the most special, right? All right. So we have the Red Hot
But
Chili Pepper ticket. Interesting. We should probably put the Okay, this is where I think we need to link, and that's where subject of, right, comes from.
ticket
Or, yeah,
token
not same
will
as.
be that uh, policy ID plus name from Cardano, right?
Um, that is
How
interesting.
could we
Ticket. So the ticket token is supposed to be kind of like what grants you entry, right? Because they
yeah,
describe it as a barcode, which clearly that would grant you entry. So if you own this thing, hmm, yeah, I mean, yeah, if the token is the ticket itself, right? Um, see, I feel like that's where this is more like a ticket definition. Like I would almost want to see like, hey, what is but no, that's a good point, right? That is a good point. Because
maybe
if you
we
know what
could,
that would be, sorry, go on.
yeah, maybe we could use that as prefix, and it could be like policy ID dot GA from general admission, that then we could make uh, yeah, that serialized sequence of tickets with that prefix.
That could be like more detail on your actual like your copy, right? Like the token, or at least the wrapper, aka the schema wrapper of your token, right? Because like you're gonna
Hmm.
have, maybe I'm just kind of going down this really wrong pitfall. Um, but yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, right? Because it's a way of validating and preventing counterfeits, right? So if I, it's almost like to do an event, you have to mint at least one. Or I guess you don't really have to mint it. Yeah, you don't have to mint it. You can do all this stuff without minting. What am I talking about?
Yep.
So yeah. Let's just. To me, I just want to avoid the minting if you can avoid the minting. So, like 1, 2, 3, 4 dot name. Let's say, uh, real quick.
Do you want a policy, an example policy ID?
It's like policy. It's policy dot name, correct? Not name dot
Yep.
policy. Okay.
And
Uh,
then we have the asset ID, which
oh, is that a dot
that
asset? I don't remember the
no,
format of this.
the asset ID is just a hash starting with asset, just to be used for
Oh yeah
uh,
yeah 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 yeah.
Daedalus.
Yeah, that's like the Beck
But
32 version. I don't want to
yep,
mimic that. I feel let's just stick with this just because it's descriptive.
but
All right, so I'm just saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Red Hot Chili Pepper 2021 tour general admission, right? So
like
it's like event and ticket name essentially what I did. All right. Subject of, now subject of is what we do want to use, right? So this, no, this, yeah. All right. So this is what we want to use the subject of, correct? Just to be. So basically,
Yeah,
subject of is the event.
and you have the about. Sasha told us subject of is the inverse relation. The other way is about, I think. Um, yeah, I suppose you can have an event referring to these tickets using about somehow.
Gotcha. I think I see what you're saying. So subject of is an event. So yeah, we want to reference the event. Can we just do, so I'm thinking we do something like this. Yeah, okay. So subject of is actually a thing, right? So then we say context. Wait, we don't do context. Do we do type or do we have to do context? I don't remember. Just type. It looks like just type. Cool. Yeah, that's easy.
The
All right, so
subject matter
this
of
is what I'm thinking. Now wait, did we say it's an event or specifically? Okay, a music event. Let's be descriptive here. Right, and then we can just do something as simple as this. Since everything has a URL on it, we can just do that. So, I mean, if anybody, all right, where is Sosha talking? Because I don't see the. Okay, there he is. I got you. I see him now. All right, so basically, subject of, right, refers an event. Specifically, it's a music event. And since everything in schema, has a URL, which because that's a thing, everything inherits from thing, we just do URL, and that's your LD, right? We were just saying like where it's somewhere else. Do we like this ticket?
Right.
All right, because if we like this ticket, I'm going to go ahead and put it up. All right, stop me now or forever hold your peace.
Go for it.
All right, so there we go. Set ticket. Copy that. Okay, that was quick for me. Everybody, here you go. Which live chat? All right, I'll hijack live chat.
It's instantaneously available for me. Oh, cool. Also for games.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have an event, we have a ticket, and if I basically say, oh, hey, look, I have, oh, that's the event. Cool. All right, so we basically just linked the ticket to an event. Ultimately, I mean, we could definitely go different ways with that, right? Like Social was saying, we could use the about on the event to reference the ticket, right? If we wanted to. But I think it makes sense to, like, you say, okay, I have a event, and then I define the ticket for it. But it is nice that schema does allow you to go both ways. So that is convenient for sure.
Yeah, it's in the end, I suppose it's a libraries thing to get a graph of these entities from whatever database and make the relationship. Then you just select subgraphs from this whole thing. And yeah, this brings us the question of, okay, we have an event on an IPFS object, we have a ticket on another IPFS object.
Right,
how we will link all those, make an application that use some kind of index to make this graph. And that's where I think OrbitDB could come handy, just because it builds this abstraction.
Yeah, if you can standardize, like you're saying, that graph, right? You standardize it, you make it queryable. I assume it's some form of queryable, um, and anything like that to kind of like let accessing the data be easier is the best way to go, right? Um, okay, so we have an event, we have a ticket. Let's buy the ticket. All right, so I have Lyft wallet. I have some TADA to be specific, right? We have test ADA. The ticket costs us 100, and that's an expensive ticket. Luckily, I have that. So now this is where it gets a little interesting. We need to make sure, and this is where we could definitely go a little bit further with this if it was easy to do. Because I'm thinking it's like, okay, this is when you incorporate like um, your elliptic curve identity, right? So where it's like, okay, I'm able to sign a metadata transaction, but the thing is, how do you prove? And I think this is where it gets really specific because now, I can come in here, I can fill out, let's say my 100 ADA, real quick. I'm just gonna make something that's not valid, but let's say my red hot chili pepper purchase, right? And ultimately, I'm not going to fill it out now, but I can come in here and not know where that is at. All right. And cool, right? Like, but the thing is, I don't know where to send it. And I think this is where the security metric comes into play because ultimately, you don't want just people randomly, right, posting um, okay, this is where we might have done it a little backwards because what we really could do is throw up an event organizer, right? Like another IPFS JSON up there that is like, hey, this is me as an identity. Really, it should be like signed and all that stuff, right? But what we do is we put in an address, right, where the money goes essentially, right? Um, and you have to get from, yeah, so it would have been actually really convenient if we did that first because then you could have the organizer in here, which I guess I can still do. What am I talking about? um,
Yeah.
and then the event, you have the ticket which links to the event links to the organizer, and the organizer is where you have your payment address, like you
Uh,
know exactly where to pay, so you can't skirt it, right? You can't just randomly send 100
yeah.
data somewhere.
And we have another cool schema for that you are describing that I guess it's what we would like to put as Cardano metadata, which is the buy action schema, which refers to a seller, uh, also has price currency, price specification. Can you
Yeah, here, shoot me a link.
I'm
Can you put
trying,
it?
but
Can you put
this
it
is
in
the
Discord chat? Might be quicker
I
or easier
I
for me.
just managed to log in on Twitch. I will put it on
Gotcha.
the chat. But
Attendee, audience, actor, about. Ooh, okay. Poser, the person or organization who wrote a comp. Not that one. Just kidding. Is it Funder? Is Funder a person or organization that supports sponsor? No. How is there not like an organizer or like? I'm sure I'm missing it. Like I know I'm missing it. Organizer, it's right there. Yeah, an organizer for the event, which is nothing more than a person or organization. Well, we're gonna say it's an organization. Man, that's a lot. I don't. Let's keep it simple.
dying. Yeah. Uh, the cool thing is we can represent all that in standard ways. Then decide how far we want to go describing like
See, and if we,
location. Do you really want to describe location with a postal address, a place object, or just have a coordinates, for example? I don't know. Uh,
yeah, maybe I should be a little more descriptive. Yeah, okay. whatever. Let's just follow it. All right. So context. Apologize for the quick scrolling. All right. Yeah. See this. Okay. Address. We don't care about that. Fax number. Yeah. Anybody got a fax number? I'm just kidding. Like, what is this? Name. Name makes sense. Let's do name. Okay. Give it. I mean, we're just gonna. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I don't know what I'm doing.
For example, if we use these by actions, we throw them to the log feed, the store abstraction from RDBDB log. We could throw by actions, have a way to spam the application with all this.
So okay, here's my question: where can I put information like a way to pay, right? And maybe it's not here, but I feel like it could be. I mean, because the thing is, I guess you don't have to put it here. You could put it in the ticket if that's. I mean, or not. I'm not sure. So like, let's say I wanted to associate, a Cardano address for payment.
Mm-hmm. So there is another interesting.
I'm sure there's a way to link it together.
Schema,
right?
which is trade action, the act of.
Yeah. I remember that one.
I think there you have instrument, the object that helped the agent perform the action. John wrote a book with pen. Maybe the instrument is Cardano network.
Maybe it's.
Yeah.
Okay. Buy action, trade action. Like price specification.
The payment specification. Are you checking that one?
Yeah. It does
Me
look.
too.
I mean, I'm sure there's not like. How's there not like a payment? Let's say just payment for now. Payment method. Oh, interesting. Not what I was expecting.
Payment accepted, payment method, payment card.
We're getting there. I feel like we're just looking at Philly stuff.
Invoice. Payment method ID. An identifier for the method of payment used. The last 4 digits of the credit card. Maybe that could be your from address. So the address.
And this was on invoice or order? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Invoice.
Invoice.
Just posted.
Okay.
The link.
And you said the identify. Okay, so it's like the last 4, but I mean, like, I feel like we could use that. The name, because the name would just basically be ADA address, right? Payment ID could be we could use that for address provider.
I mean, you can add that property to whatever schema we build. That's a cool thing of all of this. You just add the type and add it to your custom schema. It will be validated as the
What about
native.
account? What about account? I mean, for invoice, no, payment method makes more sense. Sorry. Payment method. I'm just gonna do this for now. Payment method is. Should I just say ADA or ADA address or something? Let's just say
Car-
ADA.
Cardano.
Ah, that's even better. Yeah, because technically you can accept other stuff than just ADA. Even better.
Right.
ADA. Let's just say Cardano. Yeah. It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
Payment method.
All right. So we're gonna
Commonly
mimic
used
something.
values. Commonly used values for payment method are by bank transfer in advance, by invoice, cash, check in advance, COD, which I don't know what it is, direct debit, Google Checkout, PayPal, PaySwarm.
Oh,
Those just to
price currency. What is this one? Yeah. Okay. Ooh. So I'm missing something. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I didn't give it a name. What's the name on this then? Let's see. Definitely missing something. So on organization, how can I put an invoice?
mm,
Ultimately, where's the thing? Because I can just put a thing. Um. So, okay, let's start from the other direction, right? Because we can do that. If we start from the invoice direction, what? Because it's kind of like the about, right? Like the inverse. So, uh, no,
I'm not sure if that should be part of the organization.
yeah.
It's more like it will be a different
So it's
object
something, yeah.
linking to that organization, maybe. Like, okay, an invoice object which is subject of this organization,
Okay.
but it will be in a.
All right. So we'll just do that for organization, just a name, just to keep it simple for now.
Yep.
We can always add to it. All right. So then we're saying we have an invoice object, which is cool because then we can link to the event. We can link to the ticket, and we can kind of link to everything if we need to. New file. Really wish I would have changed that naming convention. All right, so we have that. Payment methods Cardano. All right, cool. This is making more sense. This is making more sense. What do we got? What do we got? Okay. Um.
Organization location for tax reasons. It says.
All right. So the
Uh,
customer is the person buying. So we're not going to worry about that. So this is kind of like a draft order, is the way I kind of see it. It's like a template. Org location for tax reasons. Gotcha. Org location. Oh, I see what you're saying. And well, they can fill that out later.
and I
I
would say
wonder.
organization location will be like
Yeah, I mean, organization. Just to be clear, does have.
current galaxy.
Okay.
We are using the interplanetary file system with our locality with
I said
space.
local host. What is wrong? Um, this is getting interesting. Type is we're going to say place, right? Because I'm assuming name is the place and the place is Earth. Just to, it's IPFS, what planet are you on? All right, invoice. Interesting. So this is definitely some interesting stuff. So where's event? Where I need to get these kind of, where's ticket? So ticket is one, ticket is what we got. Okay, so the reason why I'm looking at this, right? So I guess when you look at I don't need all of these. Invoice, music event, keep that up. All right. So because when I look at invoice, the minimum amount, okay, so really the amount, we could put the amount here, or we could just reference the ticket so you understand how much it is, right? So I'm wondering if like the ticket, like, because the way we define the ticket, right, is more or less defining how much it costs you and then kind of what it is. I wonder if we should just put that on the invoice to begin with and not so much to link it. Like, like
Yeah,
almost saying like the ticket itself is irrelevant to be here. Like you could just say, like, what do you need to pay? I mean, maybe not. It's not necessarily true. Because what if whatever. Let's just figure out how we can link this stuff together. Provider, the service provider, no. Where's the person who like accepts payment? So it's not the customer. The entity that arranges for the exchange between buyer and buyer. No, seller. Is there a seller? Don't need that. Not the customer. All right. Does anyone see where how do I link this invoice to the organization, right? The seller.
I
I'm
would
just missing that.
say, so maybe no.
Broker is, yep. Account ID is something. Org ID? Yeah, where's that at? Where do you see
Provider, the service provider, service operator, service performer.
So it says the broker is like a bank, which makes sense. Provider, I assume, is the service provider, service operator, service performer, the goods performer, another party. Oh, it's the seller. Okay, the provider is the seller. It says right here. Another party, a seller, may offer those services or goods on behalf of the provider. A provider may also serve as the seller. Yep. Okay. Okay, so basically they're saying that the provider is a generic term because you could be a reseller. Okay, so perfect. That sounds good to me. Provider. And the cool thing is, again, whenever we need to link, it's as simple as just doing the URL. Organization, which I don't think we've posted the organization yet. All right. Now, where is the thing that is being sold? Not that. Oh, not that again. Interesting. Is there...
What are you looking for?
How we link the ticket here.
I guess you need to sell a ticket, then you link. But that's
So this is just saying you owe this much money, but I figured it would say how, like, why I owe this much money, right? That's kind of the way I see it. So it has a, like, so like for instance, if I'm looking at the example down here, right? Which I'm gonna, maybe this, referenced order. Okay, this makes sense. I should have kind of guessed this. So we need an
okay,
order. So the order is actually what's going to have the items, because if you think about it, right, if you go shopping, let's say online, right, you have a cart. Your cart is technically your order. And when you pay for that with PayPal or whatever, that's like an invoice, right? Because the invoice just reflects what you bought or the payment, the transaction, while the order is actually reflecting what you have. So we have to do a reference order as well. But
Yeah,
can
so
I?
we have a
That's fine.
ticket that can be bought by someone, and that produce an order which has some invoice linked.
So it's almost like this invoice object is a template, right? If we just think of it more of as a
Hmm.
template and not so much as something that is an instance, right? So class versus instance, if we think of it like
Yeah.
that. So this is more or less just a template on how the metadata, right? Because then we almost take this and throw this in the metadata, um, right? I mean, it seems like this is what actually would go in there.
Hmm.
Just I guess ponder that. Reference order type
Or
is
maybe,
order.
yeah, instead of putting one of these objects on the metadata, we could just refer to the generated IPFS object. So
Yeah, so we could just that's a great
something like
point, right? Because even better, right? Don't put what you don't need on the chain, right? So
right.
we can just point to the invoice, and that's really about it. So we're just saying like this is the invoice that we're paying for.
Right.
I like it. So we have the seller. Okay, so or maybe we put maybe this isn't an invoice. Maybe it's an order, and what we do because like for instance, all right, hear me out. If no, but we need this. This is what we need. Unless order, never mind. Order has payment ID. Okay, bear with me. So I think this actually needs to be an order, not an invoice, because we can put the order, basically what you're buying in IPFS, and then your transaction metadata can point to the order, and it can be an invoice schema, and that
And
makes way more sense.
yeah, whenever
Okay,
you have a payment linking to the uh, to an order, you get an invoice, right?
right, yeah.
You
So
generate
basic,
the
yeah, because then as this address holder, right? Let's say I'm you just got a transaction, right? You look at that transaction, and that transaction metadata is going to have a reference to this order, right? It's going to point to this order, and you can validate basically. Hopefully, you sent the most, that the correct amount of money, which ultimately we control that. Like we'll just make sure, in the application that you're sending the correct amount. Um, okay, this is making sense. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right.
for that.
Let me write this up.
From that invoice, you can expand to the organization, to the ticket that was bought, all that. It's linked.
100%.
And
It's
it's a
starting to
lot
make
of
sense.
work. There is a lot of work ahead, but
Yeah. Yeah,
it's fun.
you are 100%. No, let me get order. Wait, am I on? I'm on order. Order. Because then we can reference the. All right, I want purchase. All right, so order. So there's a description. Really, I think if we can just reference an event somehow.
You can add the context. I mean, you can add additional type. I think it is.
An additional type for the item, typically used for adding more specific types from external vocabulary than microdata syntax. Um, A lot of work up front. Yeah, 100% A. Like I feel like once we've all kind of walked through this process, understand how we link these things together, where metadata fits in, and kind of experience it. Like we can always talk about it all day long, but as soon as we experience it, that's when people's light bulbs will start going off. Order item. This is what we want. A service. So where can an event fit in? All right. Ultimately, I think this is where it's. I think ultimately it's an order item. It's hands down what it is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw up order item. Figure out what it is in a second. Seller. Again, not even close on that one. Seller. I'm just gonna put order item for now, even though I don't know if it is. I mean, because the way I see it, it's not a product, it's not a service. So, but whatever. Oh, that seller ultimately is this. So okay, real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up organizer just so it can stop. Yeah. Okay. Order.
I
Yeah, this
like the way
is
you frame it. Like, let's build on top of IPFS first, and then we can
start
think
with
on
one
the
technology
next.
at a time.
Yeah.
And I feel like this. I mean, I might be a little, biased on this. This might just be a little bit more like how I'm able to make it work in my head, and I hope it helps others.
That's why you are a good teacher and I'm not.
That has never been said about me, but thank you. Invoice. Yeah, I guess it still goes here. I mean, yeah, it definitely goes here. I'm sorry. And then we will eventually put the URL for what we're building right now. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna leave that for a second. Okay, so we have for the order, we have the payment method, we have the address for the payment ID, we have the seller. Now we just need what we're buying, and this needs to be, which I mean, technically I could just cheat. I feel like, and put URL and then just reference a ticket. But I feel like that, I don't know. I feel like that's cheating, and really this should be an array. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't think. I mean, I guess it does say order item is one order. Man, that's just not how that works.
I saw an array.
Yeah, if I can do an array.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I can. I see it. Alrighty. All right, so let's say description, right? I think definitely a description. And we just say like event ticket. I mean, I feel like it's not cheating. I don't know. I feel like I can just put a URL here then.
I would say so.
I mean, this literally says widget. It's just a thing. It's not even trying to give me. Yeah, we're just gonna do that. Where's the ticket? Not that. It's an event. Just here's the ticket. All right. Okay, so in order, we need to know how to pay for it, which is our Cardano address. We need to know who is selling it. So that's the seller and organization. And then we need to know what we're buying. Is there, okay, let's just look at order real quick. Maybe there's some extra information that we want to tack on just for, I mean, technically I definitely say I don't think you put quantity here. Maybe we put quantity in the invoice actually, if that's possible. Because you might buy more than one ticket, right? So there's literally, oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Why didn't somebody tell me? customer discount code is gift order, yada yada yada. Part of invoice. Interesting. Invoice.
Dude, I feel like we need an editor for this.
Yeah. Oh
And
man.
there
All
is a
right.
playground that
Yeah. Something. How do we denote the quantity? That's my thing. I mean, maybe the order, right? Maybe we're just thinking about this a little wrong. Um.
we
All
can do
right.
it
3
atomic
minutes.
for now.
Okay, let's just prove the point. But I think, yeah, let's just go ahead and prove the point. But I think that like realistically, when doing this, I think having the organizer. Okay, this is what it was, right? Okay, I'm sorry, just bear with me. We have a ticket. We have an event. Cool. We have an event, but the organization is not on here. Should we have done that? Was that our misstep? That might have been the misstep, right? Because the event should have should have the organizer on it.
Wasn't it added as subject of?
Oh, I'm sorry, was it? If that's the case, then I'm just missing it. No, I'm not seeing any. Okay, whatever. Let's just update it. All right. So event, because I mean we don't have to do that, right? Because hold on, where's music event? Because we have there is organizer. I must have not just put it on there. Anyway, sorry. Let's go event. We do want the organizer for sure. Let's just get this on there. And I'm actually curious because there should be versioning, right, with IPFS. So it should actually just update type. Yeah, all right. Because in my head, the order and invoice concept, that's really just what goes on the metadata. Like there really shouldn't be any link data out in IPFS that represents that. You should just have organizer, event, ticket, and you buy the ticket, and that's what goes into your order item, and then it bubbles up, right? So that's my. I just uploaded it. That's why. All right.
It should be the same link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me double check though. So okay. Yeah. 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 Order. Yep. There it is. Because then we can put in. Yeah. Okay. I think I have an idea what we're really supposed to be doing here. All right. So just to put that in. Yeah. Cool. 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 All right, there we go. Red Hot Chili Pepper agency, yada yada. All right, so that means let me get rid of this. Oh, and I need to upload the event, which I wonder if that just auto updates. Event. Nope, it sure doesn't. Let's just try this again. Events. Hmm. We do have organizer on there. Share link, copy, inspect. Not helping. let's go back.
So the last object took 6 minutes for A to reach A swarm.
Interesting. How do we update this file?
You should be able to just drop it there, and it will overwrite that object with the new contents.
It said, why is that next? Here, what? Real quick. Let me go back to files, import, folder, event. All right, it failed. Now tell me why it failed. Doesn't want to say why. Delete. I'm just gonna delete it. Yeah. I don't care. Let's just.
Yeah, it should be fine to delete it. Upload it again
But
because
doesn't that
it's
mean I have
hard.
to do the same thing for the ticket?
Um,
That's fine. You know what? Let's just.
yeah,
I want to do it real quick. So let's just do it to
it should
do
be
it.
the same object, but
That's That's what I thought. Folder event.
does it work when you drag and drop from VS
You
Code?
know what? It may not like the fact that I keep. It might be the folder, not the file. All right. All right. So let's just copy that. Go back to the ticket. Not the same, which makes sense. It's technically different. So the hash. All right. So we can try it with tickets. So if I go file, not that, tickets, file, ticket. Okay. Which, not the same. Come on.
Did it update?
It said it did. I got a green checkbox, so I'm going with expect links 0. Where? Okay, base version. Copy. Copy. Yeah, it's still giving me that one that ends in a L. Okay, I'm just gonna delete it again. We can figure out versioning another day. Delete, delete. Ticket. Yep, ticket. Does not like drag and drop. Once I get these links all better, I will share. All right, so that's going to take a bit. That's fine. Okay, so let's start over. I'm going to delete, or I'm just going to clear out all my. All right, so first we start with organization, right? So we have this. Let's copy, copy. All right, so there's our organization. Then the organization is owned by our event, right? Copy that. All right, event is still going out. Interesting. Hurry up. But we can confirm. Yeah, all right, so that is good. So that link is the actual organizer link. All right, we're going to go here. Ends in 8Z59 for, now we won't look at the ticket. 8Z59. Okay, cool. So those are all there. All right, so this is technically the link. All right. All right, so we have org. we have event. And we have ticket. Sorry, I'm just sharing this in chat.
Oh yeah, of course you cannot update objects because I mean that.
I mean, it has version though. Like you can. It says it even right here. Like if I go to inspect, you have version. Like so, like I get that, but we should be able to at least version the file. I just don't. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, and that's probably very much the case.
No, but that's version that's a different thing. That's the hash object version.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll figure it out. All right, so I do have the organizer now. Org loaded instantly. Yeah, okay. That one's been out there for a while. That's hard to know how long. My event just loaded, so we're still waiting on the ticket. Okay. Anyway, let's work on the metadata while while it does that thing.
We need IPFS for linking. Yeah, for having that upgrade updatability. That's another thing Orbit will abstract us from.
Reference order. All right, so red hot chili. Nope. Red hot chili pepper. 2021 for general. Let's just say ticket. We'll reference what it is and the order date. What's today's date? Forgive me, but I'm being American here. Order item. So the thought here is I'm gonna make it an array, even though like you're buying one ticket and yeah, you adjust the quantity to actually say that you're buying more than one. But like, what if you bought something else, right? Like an experience, or I know like I'm just out of the realm. I'm not going to put that in here. I'm just going to make it an arrays. That's my point. All right, order item.
But that's something I feel it should be just in the order. I mean, you have the invoice, which is the certification that you pay for an order. So you link to the order, which includes the quantity and the items and all that stuff. Of course, you can like embed that there, so it's basically the same. But I feel we should like be as granular as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's where just having multiple order items for whenever those things awry, right? Or all right, so type here. What exactly? Product. I mean, I guess the product is a ticket, right? I mean, it is a. What do we call it? A ticket? I mean, it's a thing, right? I mean, these people are saying that, the name is widget. So a widget is anything. A widget, very much. I mean, a ticket is a widget, and I could argue that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't stop me. Even though I want to say this, I want to say music of it. I mean, I feel like it, but you don't buy. What am I talking about? It's a ticket, right? I'm sorry. Oh, that's not what I'm gonna do.
For me, it's ticket represents the token, which is the thing that you are actually buying. The order includes this reference,
Yeah, I
references,
mean, well,
and
because
the invoice
an order
reference is the
item
order.
is specifically what you're buying, right? So an order is a list of things you buy. So if you're literally buying a ticket, then I feel like that's the order item, right? Is that what you're
Right?
saying? Okay, I feel like that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Let's describe the ticket a little bit. We don't need to do anything other than just really reference it. That being said, let's see if we can't. There's got to be quantity, right? Order quantity. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Is it a number? It is a number. Good. Order item number. We don't need to worry about that. Order delivery. Nope. An
Order
order item
delivery.
can have an ordered item. Weird. I'm
What's
sure
that?
there's.
Order delivery.
I don't know. It's Wait, ordered item. Is this an ordered item or an order item? It's an ordered item. My apologies. It's not order item. All right. All right. So we have an order that has the description, the dates, what we're buying, the organization, invoice. Oh wait, do we? What else do we need? Is there anything else we need? I mean, we can look at invoice and determine this. No broker. I mean, I guess the broker would be whatever app you're using, right? So in case you wanted to, technically that's all right. So let's see. Technically that's what's being bought, or what's being bought is the experience, which might point us towards where the value optimization ought to be. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean
That's
you're
right. Well,
well, okay.
actually,
I
you
would say
are.
you're buying a ticket which grants you access. You're buying access to the event, right? So the ticket. This is just my way of reasoning using a ticket and it being that. So I'm not saying that that is not right. I'm just trying to justify why it's the ticket, I guess.
I will say both. You are buying a ticket that it's the mechanism that uh, grants you access to the experience. Um, but yeah, actually, what you are paying for is the ticket. So that's what I will include here, and maybe link it to an experience that will maybe, I don't know how we will represent that here.
All right. So I'm
Maybe
putting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
maybe when it happened and it was recorded, the experience was will be a video. So you could
Oh yeah.
use the token to access that video on the private platform from the artist or wherever.
I mean,
So
it could even just it's
then
like a link, right? You just get a link.
yeah, that you have this after the event happened. Um, yeah, in fact, that would be a great.
It could even be a stream. It could be it's still a link. Whether it's past or even present, or I guess future, whatever. Um, okay. The only other thing I'm adding is total payment due, right? Because if your quantity, the ticket will tell you how much it costs. Can this thing populate already? Good lord. All right, I'm just gonna go in here and look at it. Where is file tickets? All right.
And by the way, we are not showing off the JSON-LD playground, which might become handy for
Okay.
some
I mean, yeah, we
people.
can play around with that another time. Just to be, I am using the correct. Yeah. Okay. It's just still not out there, huh? Yeah. Okay. So this has
Uh,
the total price for one ticket. We're saying that the one ticket costs 100. So in case you basically have more than one quantity, your total payment due is more, right? So
right?
just wanted to throw that in there. Ultimately, I'm going to say this is good for our metadata. Okay, so Now, real quick, let's make it metadata compliant because it's not. We will. All right, so now we are metadata compliant. As long as these URLs are good. Okay, so this is what's going to go into our our transaction metadata. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the organization.
And
oh wait, no, I
this
need the
is
ticket.
where the meta handler comes to my mind for like referencing back this transaction that we will be making on Cardano. We will need to have a new URL for linking it back, and
Right.
that was on my mind when I built this custom schema, URI schema.
I just realized we still don't have the freaking Cardano. What happened to that? I got rid of it. The Cardano address. It's supposed to be a payment method, which ultimately goes on here, but that doesn't help. Because we want. All right, we'll solve that at a different point in time. Like, I'm not worried about that right now.
Yeah, don't worry about that because we shouldn't be using like plain IPFS hashes. That's what IPNS solves. So you create a name and you update the link, the references for that name. So if you update a new JSON file, then you update the pointer to from this name to that new
Oh, I
object.
see what you're saying. Yeah. All right, so
And
it's
that's,
just like DNS, right? Like
yeah,
you just
basically.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna
And
say that
I
this.
thought IPFS desktop will do that for you. Like if you ever write a file, it created the, but no, it's not working like that.
All right, so just to confirm, great. All right.
How many peers do you have on your IPFS desktop application now?
Um, come on, I just want to post the metadata. Why isn't it working?
What happened?
I don't know. 1 second. I can't even. Oh, we got 502 error.
502, is that testnet?
Hold on.
Oh, but that's
Let me
probably
try again.
GraphQL being overloaded in the middle of get transactions.
I'm honestly surprised. Okay, so real quick with peers, how many peers do I have? I got 600 peers.
We have 400.
I like how this file just does not want to propagate. All right, grab a.
I don't know if you can hear.
You're fading in and out. I wonder if I just have the wrong. All right, let's get this up. Clear that. Oh, Roberto had to reboot his machine. All right, so it looks like we're getting a 502 on the Dandelion endpoint. So there's not much we can do. Now you get to see me twice. All right, 1 second. All right, so we're just waiting for it to really just time out. And then 214 here, 219. Oh, okay. Peers. I'm going to guess you guys are talking about peers. You know what? Let's just go to Dandelion. Let's just confirm that it in fact is. All right, hold on 1 second. Time to. Okay, so what's really going on? I'm using my installed version. Maybe we don't want to do that. Let me just go to main branch. Oh, I brought my changes. I did not want to bring my changes. Oh, whatever. All right. So what we're about to at least kind of show, right? So we have an organization that that events can link to, right? So one organizer has many events, so you have that one-to-many relationship. Same with the event to tick.
I'm back.
He is back. All right, let's bring him back. Bring him back. Okay. So we just need. So I don't know, Roberto. I went to the Dandelion GraphQL endpoint, and I was able to query it through the playground. So we're about to find out.
Is that testnet, right?
Yes.
Um,
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load. I'm going to run main branch because I have no idea. Who knows? The installed version on this machine could just be wrong, just beyond like very very wrong.
um, I don't know.
Well, okay.
Let me check if everything's right. I didn't receive any alert from the deploy. If it worked through the playground, I guess it's not Dandelion fault.
Yeah. No, I would say Dandelion is fine if it can run the playground. Uh-oh.
Oh, poor laptop.
Oh, it doesn't like. Okay, it's the metadata. Interesting. Value out of range within metadata item. Yada yada.
Did you use the debug endpoint?
The debug endpoint. Oh wait.
Yeah, the one that shows
Oh,
the
there's a
error.
string. There's a string that has more than 64. One has 67 bytes.
Yeah, that's why we probably
So it's
only
one of
want to
these.
link to a specific IPFS object that includes the.
Oh, okay. So you're saying do this instead. That's fine. That's not a URL, but I mean, I guess we
Yeah,
could use description. We could just use description instead.
URL is fine,
Okay.
I suppose.
I don't.
Like,
Whatever. We'll
I mean,
figure it out.
remember we can fork the thing schema, which is the very minimum schema, JSON-LD schema. Yeah, maybe use identifier and URL. And URL could be like a gateway. I mean, we have the IPFS.io gateway that if we all use that gateway and it suddenly goes offline, what's the point of using IPFS? So the way I envision this is you run your IPFS gateway and you link to your own IPFS gateway to access this data. Yep, that should be the end goal. That everybody runs their own, or just omit the gateway. You you use the identifier and you know that you need to access IPFS.
Yeah, and you know what? It almost makes it more flexible by just giving the identifier, because then it's up to the interface or the app or whatever to pick their gateway, right? Because that could be a configuration like item that you're like, I use this gateway, or you might have a list of gateways, right? Where it's like, you don't rely on one. So actually, yeah, this actually makes a little bit more sense. In fact, when creating the schema objects, maybe even in the schema objects we do that as well. We don't list a gateway, right? Like we do. So are you still not going to load? Oh, come on. Whatever. That item's just not going out there. Yeah, so like right here, right? Just chop off the gateway part and just have the identifier here. So there we go. Show it. All right. So we have an invoice provider. So here's the organization, right? So it's kind of like saying, which is the same thing. So basically, our metadata is linking to an organization. We have a reference order, which links to our order item, which I can't pull up the ticket. But it looks like this, right? So, and then this, so then our ticket, right? It talks about the token. So we have our policy 1234, that's our policy ID. And then the asset name is the event name, and then the general mission.
Basically the seat or whatever makes sense.
Yeah. That name is completely up to whatever that makes sense. And then we say that it's 100 ADA, right? So we also have payment due, which we bought one of them. So it is 100 and then ADA. So we link to an organization, we link to a ticket. Said ticket is linking to an event, which we do have the event. And technically the event can link to the organizer. So really we don't have to link to the organizer in the invoice. But we did. Awesome. I mean, I feel like this is starting to prove the concept, right? Like, we're actually like showing like, hey, here's some distributed information. Clearly, throw on Orbit DB, throw some DNS in front of it, make it more like tailor it to the app. But we're proving the concepts, right? And I think that's a lot of what we've been trying to get to, right? We've been having a lot of discussions, but actually talking about how linked data is the ticket quantity tied to price. Yes, here, let's look at that. So we have order quantity, right? And if we looked at this this order item, so this order item, this is the ticket. So if we look at the ticket, we see that the total price is 100 ADA. Then we have one quantity. So 100 times 1 is 100. Now, maybe I should have used 2 just to demonstrate that concept. But total payment due, like this would be what needed to be paid. So if this was 2, this would be 200. And then hence this would need to be 200. That's exactly, and in fact, that's exactly why I added this, just so we could talk about that.
And this object will be something that will eventually be built dynamically by a smart contract that we will be implementing from the organizer application.
This, I feel like we didn't really, do anything crazy here, but this is actually really exciting because we're starting to actually implement LD and not just talk about it. Where does the logic live? Neat. Where does the logic live? Logic for like constructing this metadata. Um, if that's the question, the way I see it is when you're on your phone or app that you're buying the ticket from, right? It's going to grab all this information from wherever it's grabbing it from, right? Where you got the event, so you're displaying the event information, how much the tickets are. They select a ticket, and they add the quantity. Well, we already have all that stuff, but yeah, essentially multiplying it's in the app, right? Before because you have to tell the user how much they need to send, and that's where the app is validating. Okay, you have 300
The,
ADA. You're buying 2 tickets, so you need 200. Do you have enough type of thing? And then that way, it's not like you don't have like a QR code on your phone and then you pay that. It's like the app that has all that information is also a wallet. So you're really
uh,
controlling that transaction. So
Let me try and summarize the workflow. So let's imagine an organizer posts an event to the events DB. Then there is a potential attendee that checks that there is a new event. There are some seats available. Then he makes an order. Then the organizer application pops up the order. The organizer sends an invoice. The attendee pays for that invoice. The organizer app receives that pay, how it was called, by action payment, basically, object, and confirms he received the payment and then sends the token to the attendee wallet.
yeah,
Something like that will be the
and a lot of but a lot of that can happen in smart contracts when that time comes, right? Because a lot of
Mhm.
what you just talked about is the exchanging of value, right? Which is by definition exactly what a smart contract is supposed to help automate, right? So the buyer initiates the action, aka triggers a smart contract, which does all that. It accepts payment, and then okay, you paid. Hopefully, we can write metadata in a smart contract. Unsure, but ultimately from there, it can then turn around and I don't know if it can mint. Can it mint a?
Yeah, it's you are supposed to hold keys on a smart contract, so they
So
will
you should be
be
able to
able
mint
to.
tokens then.
Yeah,
Then you mint the token.
and
Awesome, beautiful. Look at that. Um, yeah, that's crazy. Actually, I don't know why. I guess I've just never thought of that before. The need, but now there's the need. Um, Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things maybe we're not really touching on, like counterfeit security and stuff like that. Um, so when it comes to like verifying actors, but ultimately this is like another session when maybe we get into, and we've kind of done that, right? We did it with PGP and MetaHandler. Another like this is exactly what we would use MetaHandler for, which probably would definitely help with all that stuff because you want to make sure that when you get an invoice that it's valid, it comes from a good actor and stuff like that. And then also, right, not just that, but like you want to make sure that you're buying a ticket from a valid actor too, because all this stuff is technically out in the world for anyone to consume. So anybody could just start like making a clone, right, and you are getting fished essentially.
yeah, but if you hold the organizer public key, you can check that the invoice was signed by this organizer, and it's that. We don't need
Yep.
to encapsulate things on weird formats like I did
Yeah.
with the HTTP response. Here we have yeah, full file system.
This is exciting. I'm really I think this is definitely a really good approach. For balancing technology and what you use it for. Because we don't want to just it's like, oh, this is a great new technology, like metadata, right? Like, let's put everything in metadata. No, let's not do that. Let's think about what metadata is
Yeah,
good to use for, and let's use it for that. Same with blockchain, right? Uh, just in general. And I think IPFS and then OrbitDB, I mean, there's a lot of good things that still allow us to be decentralized and take that decentralized stance. Um, but it doesn't have to be blockchain. And I think that's a really good thing to remember, right? Let's try to always ask, are the tools that we're using, is this, if we have a hammer, are we looking at a screw or are we looking at a nail, right? I don't want to hammer a screw into a piece of wood. So um,
it's all about interoperability between all these pieces. Uh,
yeah,
it's like tools.
not gonna lie, after playing around with IPFS and all this stuff, I'm like looking at Filecoin. I'm like, okay, this would be I'm curious how this is really going to play out and like what it's trying to do. So it's kind of like start technology, then go to the cryptocurrency instead of start with the cryptocurrency and then figure out like, how do I use this, right? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you can think about this approach we're talking about, having a gateway and a pinning service like a federated model, and Filecoin will be like a completely decentralized approach to hosting, to persist the permanent web. IPFS is the permanent web. You need to persist the parts of these permanent addresses, and uh, that's what you will you would like to have an army of space miners, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what you find on Filecoin.
Yep. I already told you my like super ambitious idea for Ergo and the fact that it's proof of work. But maybe we get into that later. So A asks, so OrbitDB was opted against for this session because it added complexity, or yeah, it's ultimately we just weren't ready for it. IPFS is super simple to get up and running. I mean, I literally downloaded it and got it running at the very beginning of this session. It took no setup whatsoever. OrbitDB is just like an extra layer on top of IPFS that we're just not. I guess we weren't really ready to demo it or even tinker with it yet. Um, so yeah, maybe next week if Roberto and I, maybe just Roberto, is ready. One of us at least is ready to kind of demo that and maybe evolve this example that we just did today, right? Because I
But
honestly I think OrbitDB, if we start learning OrbitDB, I mean man, it's kind of over at that point. I think that type of technology is kind of insane to even think about. Um, and if we can use it, it's a game changer, in my opinion.
um, I was all in to test OrbitB, but it's a good thing to show the underlying technology before. So
Yeah,
thanks for not skipping that step,
yeah.
because
It's I mean it's all about
I
building
tend to
blocks.
condense too much things, and that's why I get like stuck while explaining, because yeah, you need to go too deep back on
I
the
think
fly, and that not doesn't work too well.
yeah, I think one of the mantras of Gimbal Labs is always going to be understand what you are abstracting before you abstract it. Yes, foundations first, right? Like that.
Right.
Ever since that was said, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna hone in on that phrase and just kind of hold it tight. Um, Especially with the world that we're going into. It's one thing you want to talk .NET or uh, applications as they are today. I feel like most of us can hold a conversation with that, even if you've used it or not, right? Because it's like, what's really different between all these other than maybe the language? Various, if you get into like more specifics of like compiled and stuff, but whatever. Um, But where I think the waters that we're trying to walk into now are just, it's a totally different paradigm, right? Like if you think about distributed versus, I mean, think about it. I still am not getting this file. My ticket file just doesn't want to go. um, which I'll get that fixed. I guess I'll try. I'm sure it's something silly, but yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. This is cool stuff. All right, I'm going to call this one a successful session. Sometimes they're not, but yeah. I think I don't know. Here, let's try something. Delete it. Interesting. Is that oh there. Import
We're gonna
file.
try if it goes to a different
I mean
route in the
the
swarm.
hash oh I only got 219 peers. That's interesting. Um hmm. You know what's crazy? I've had this going the whole time and I haven't dropped a single frame. So I'm actually impressed with my own internet. I actually had a concern about it. I was like, am I really gonna be doing like peer-to-peer connections, like downloading and uploading stuff while trying to stream? I mean it's like
It's
kilobytes,
very
so it's real
lightweight.
yeah, it is very lightweight. I mean I'm only hosting 1.6 megabytes worth of files, so when I was doing this yesterday on my other machine, I mean I was up to like 10 megs like in less than an hour, and it was like 900 peers and everything. It was crazy. Not sure what's different. Um,
Randomness.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe I re-uploaded it. We'll see. All right. You ready to call it? Is there anything else we want to? Any more questions? You want to touch on something?
No, I think it was a very good session. I like it.
Yeah. This is. It's kind of. It's a nice like discussion and hands-on. It's like a good in between. So I'm excited. I would like maybe if we can do another one like this with Orbit, that would be good. Um, man, we just got to get Meta Handler in a really solid state, because then it would be really simple just to like bust out a Node app and just kind of like, oh yeah, get that transaction and yada yada. It's like, look at that, all done. So
Click here and start exploring the graph of that ticket
that
both
that would be
through Cardano.
yes, that would be really cool. Actually, if it's all linked up correctly, right? We should be able to just kind of navigate the organizers, the events, the tickets, like who bought the tickets, all that stuff, right? So anyway,
IDs, personas.
all right, I'll keep in touch with the Gimbal Labs Discord if I see that this file finally loads. But anyway, I appreciate everyone joining, and it's been fun. We'll see you next time.
Yep.